Tomorrow morning, everybody. It's Jamie here from Wayapa Work. It's our very first Wayapa Practitioner podcast. Trying out a new format to get Wayapa to the world. And we have the amazing OG Alana Marsh with us here today. Firstly, I want to pay respects to the traditional custodians of the land in which we're having this yarn, the Wurundjeri people, the Wurrung speaking people, and pay my respects to their ancestors, their elders who looked after this place that people are now residing in, called Malboni, and honour the fact that they looked after and had connection to this country for thousands of years, and also the current Wurundjeri people are doing the same thing, continuing practices, which is amazing, and honour the ongoing connection that they have to share and teach that to non-traditional peoples living here on Naarm. So
yeah, and I would also like to thank Jamie for the opportunity, but Kinaway for providing the space for us. So
Absolutely.
Kinaway is the Victorian Aboriginal Chamber of Commerce, and I've done Wayapa a number of times in this beautiful room, so I feel quite at home. I knew where the toilets were and where where to get the beverages.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like that. I'm glad you just have a little camp here. It's quite a lot to come on and drag me out. So what we're trying to do with this little series of videos is just to connect with the practitioners, just to give you guys a bit of an insight to anybody who's wanting to become a Wayapa practitioner, do the diploma. We are creating a little bit more online content. There's some amazing direction that Wayapa is going to go in the future, and not just here in Australia but around the world. And we look forward to sort of bringing that to you as it sort of evolves and grows. So, Alana, can you just tell us just a little bit about yourself and when you started the journey of Wayapa, your journey?
Yeah, so thank you, Jamie. I started my Wayapa journey, I think it was actually before I met you. It was really weird because I have a son called Sol, which is Spanish for the sun, and I have a son called Jarrah, which is the eucalypt from WA. Yeah. And I married a marsh, the swamp. So it's that whole nature-based thing. Absolutely. And I feel like Wayapa is such a beautiful modality for people to connect more deeply with nature. But we all have that connection anyway, because we were all in utero at some stage, and we all breathe in the fresh air and we eat the food from the land. So we have this connection to nature, but Wayapa is a really effective tool to reconnect us back. But I've lived in Melbourne on Wurundjeri country for about 15 and a half years. I was born up in Innisfail in far north Queensland, on the banks of the Johnston River, in the Innisfail Hospital.
Yeah, right, nice. All right, not in the dirt.
Yeah, not in the dirt. But I grew up on Bundjalung country in northern New South Wales, so around Lismore. And moved down here, and I think I met you fairly early on. And when I heard what you were doing and sort of had a taste of it at Bundjalaka, I was really interested to get me some of that updraft. Because that respect, that reciprocity, that relationship with the earth as the fundamental platform for mind, body, spirit wellness really resonated for me. Yeah, I think everything that we do is enabled by the earth, and if you've ever seen a kid with asthma and having trouble to draw air into their lungs, like you just realise it's the constant enabler of our existence. So yeah, it sort of ticks so many boxes for me. But I have a beautiful partner, 2 children, and I feel very, very lucky to have met you and to have Wayapa in my life. I was part of the first group that became accredited in November 2016 at Fed Square, and it was the year that it was that week that Donald Trump actually got elected as well. And I remember going out.
It seems so much longer than that. It feels like about 8 years, not like 3.5.
It's been a very fatiguing presidential term, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it does. It feels like it's been here for a lot longer. Yeah,
but we were going out during the breaks and seeing the big screen at Fed Square to say, he'd actually been elected. And it was like, oh my gosh, that was, I thought, like a huge prompt for us that, we're potentially going to reset how we are in the universe, how we are on this planet. And I thought, potentially that election was, somehow crucial, because I like to look at the dates and how things work out, and if there's any extra insight or guidance from a particular time.
Absolutely. I think what you're saying is so true, that style of person being elected to that country as the leader, I think that the balance had to be Wayapa to try and everyone jump on that seesaw so it comes back up a bit, because that disconnection was going to be evident.
They're so waiting for us in the US.
Absolutely. So the modality itself, what sort of things has it helped you, I guess, shuffle around in your own life? Not necessarily change or whatever, but what sort of the modality given you insight into?
I had 2 biophthalmic strokes about 7 years ago on International Dying to Know Day. That whole dates things coming up again. But that's the part of the brain that maintains the systems in the body, so our breathing, our body temperature, blood pressure. And so I had this huge prompt to try and understand systems a little bit more. Yeah. And so it's those systems of knowing, do this whole thing, hit my head, systems of knowing. Yeah. And we often spend too much time up there in modernity, and that's where anxiety and a lot of that fatigue that we get from being part of a modern species comes from. But that alignment between our systems of knowing, our systems of being, and our systems of doing, so the stuff we do with our physical body is really powerful. And I was driving up to Wangaratta to see Chris on Sunday, and Jarrah asked me, he said, how do you turn hazard lights on in a car? And I was thinking, there's that triangle. It's a triangle sign for it. And you sometimes see trucks on the highway and they put those things out, and I thought, oh wow, I had to ask him, what's the thing where you have a triangle with 3 different sides? Because I know there's an equilateral triangle and the isosceles. And he said, the scalene trial. He said, where there's one side that's smaller than another. And I feel that, when we can get the alignment between those 3 inputs, knowing, being and doing, and some days we're going to need to be more in our doing space because we might be rushing around, we might have something that we need to do, and so we're going to be more in that space. So every day we have this opportunity to recalibrate what our triangle is, our systems of knowing, being and doing, and Wayapa is such a powerful way of doing that because it has the movement sequence, allows people to drop down into their bodies, but also has that reflective, being sort of space from that heart center, and allows people to nourish themselves and to revitalize themselves. And you often see that in nature where you have a plant that's those peace lilies that if they haven't had a drink for a while, they all sort of fall over, but you give them a drink and like 2 hours later they've sprung back up, and we have that resilience as well. And we sort of forget that as humans because of the biomedical space and the pharmaceutical responses and things like that. They think that it's, they try to tell us that we need to buy this certain pill or this certain lotion or something to create, well-being. And so I love Wayapa for that opportunity to recalibrate my triangle of existence each day. So it's huge. It's really huge. It's simple, but it's very profound all at once.
I think so. I think that sometimes in life we do overcomplicate stuff, and just getting back to the basics, which is what we hoped that the modality would to create a bit of an insight into that connection between the natural world and which we are a part of, but as a species, us as human beings and humanity to look back more at that simplicity. Definitely. So where have you been sharing Wayapa, Alana? What sort of spaces?
Jamie, I would go to every street corner and share it because it's, I was at the Austin Hospital at the Olivia Newton-John Wellness Centre, and I was sort of saying to them, I'm so glad that you guys invited me in because I could do this down on the street corner, and this gives me a bit more credibility.
Yes.
So I do it like lots of places. So pre-COVID, I was in the middle of my 6th 16-week program with adults living with various abilities. And that was really fantastic. I'd never worked with the disability sector prior, and I actually intellectualized it all a bit too much. And the first 2 were still good, but it was like, I wasn't necessarily having a lot of fun, and I was trying to second guess how everything would work and how will I connect with people about this. And some people are non-verbal. How will they even tell me? And people can tell you. They can, they get up and leave, or they throw things around, or they do stuff. So as soon as I took it out of my head and into my heart, I cannot believe that I get paid to do that because I have so much fun. But I share it with, from about 4 years old is the youngest person that I've done it with, beautiful little Hazel at the Arts Centre. And I've done a few Seniors Weeks event. And so I do it in corporate settings. I've done a couple of public things at Abbotsford Convent where I've just drawn in, interested people from the public. It's sort of, because it's such a human-centered modality, there's no one, I feel, that wouldn't have a wonderful time experiencing it.
Yeah.
Because like everyone loves to reconnect to the things that make them feel joyful and, you know, vibrant and at peace and abundant, and, you know, with love and compassion and understanding and a bit of kindness. And, you know, there's so many areas in modernity that are based on fear and competition, and like people almost sort of bore you over because they know, like, we've evolved to need that.
Yeah.
And Wayapa is one wonderful way of getting that.
Yeah. And we've always said that the modality itself is just a tool, and it could be just a 10 mil spanner just to fix some things in your life, or it could be a shifter where you can vary the width and the breadth of the actual tool itself, and have it fix small problems but also fix massive problems as well. So some of the responses people give you,
I've had people, like, you know, come up to me in tears, and I've had other people that sort of turn on their heel and walk away. So there's a whole, you know, spectrum of responses.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, all you're doing is offering it to people at that point in time, and, you know, maybe in 6 months